that entry. So, a bit of a game on our hands now, and MKers, this is actually a really good map for both of these teams. We didn't see MKers previously on Border, so allowed them to hide quite a few things, but we have seen them before on Clubhouse, and both times they have banned out Capitao and Mira. We've only seen BDS once on Clubhouse, and they banned Maverick and Pulse there against Fours, which they took 7-4, but BDS is actually going to take the the Capitao away instantly. And that's going to leave MKers with their first ban, so could be interesting to see what happens here with their side.
Well, obviously, this is one of those ones where, well, I was about to say, you're going to see the hard destruction is going to be the double down there. It just allows them not as much kind of control over those hatches. You still will consistently probably see double hard destruction brought across the myriad of this map. Every single point usually kind of situates itself to be able to have a double pairing set of walls taken down, or the hatches alongside things like the church wall or triple, or, you know, those kind of many little places where you can double down on your hard destruction. Echo is removed, and at this point, probably, I mean, Mira's not really massively useful.
Maybe a Pulse, honestly.
Yeah.
BDS have banned Pulse out before against Fours, and no, it is going to be the Mirror. She's not massively useful, but she does have her place here, I think. She can be useful in the, especially kind of like gym bedroom, which is quite hard to hold down, but with the Mirror it does make it a little bit easier, so we'll see how things are going to be working out here on Clubhouse. Moving to round number 1, it's going to be MKers who start on the attack. This will move through, so will be interesting. What do you think is going to happen here? Because this is actually a really good map for both teams, and BDS took Fours here, who, you know, BDS had never gone to Clubhouse before then. It was a pretty big surprise, I think, in terms of map bans. And, you know, I think BDS have practiced this map quite a lot if they were intending to take Fours here. Now they've already shown their hand, they can do the same thing again, but that also means that, you know, MKs should have a lot to prep for here, but so should BDS.
Well, if I'm honest, one of the things I'm curious to see is how the attacks work together on the side of MKers against this. Now, on Clubhouse, on Border, where we were at previously, they were very, very good. They were pretty swift, great at setting up the flanks and being able to collapse upon the players of BDS. But Border is generally a much quicker map for those kind of actions. It plays a little bit better into the side of a team that might otherwise struggle with that, and this is where those strategies and the pace of setting up flanks and rotations and all of that might be tested and stretched just a little bit more. It's more dangerous in certain aspects of the certain holds. You don't really get the same flat wall coverage and the same flat clearance that you can get on a map like Border, and there's more possibilities of a player of BDS being able to just, well, take advantage of you. At this point, I think this is going to be a test of MKers, seeing if they can pull themselves on these attack rounds. At the split, you would assume BDS would be a little bit more capable, with the history that we've already said has been pretty consistent from them, but MK has surprised us before, and they surprised us pretty brilliantly.
It is not easy to go completely undefeated during Challenger League, but we haven't actually seen too much from BDS during online best of threes, but offline we have also seen them beat G2. So there's a huge amount of capability in this team, and I guess we'll have a look at what they want to do here. But I'm hoping that last map was a big wake-up call to BDS, because I really just don't think they were playing at their full potential last map.
Well, here's the pace from MK, as we said, was pretty brilliant before. They've set themselves up to be able to try and bandit trick this, as they have consistently suffered before. They weren't doing this previously, actually, on the previous point. It was MKers who were throwing a lot of that, and BDS otherwise were just kind of letting a lot of walls fall and leave it on the back foot. And I think the energy was a little bit lackluster previously from the side of BDS. It seems they're a bit more active. They're a bit more awake this time around. You can see more aggression. The body on the far side on Jim is ready for a jump out. They have someone playing, and Shaiko, surprisingly, and they have someone playing against Logistics side as well. In the meantime, the Bandit has suffered a fate trying to bandit trick, but Rafael should and potentially will be able to get the pickup. The pings are coming pretty consistently, and they're concerned about the man rotating in garage underneath, but this should be at least 5 versus 5 still as we come into the actual structured push.
This could be a great nade from Sloppy if he is able to know what is going on right now, but Panics is going to get revived as he rotates all the way through the garage, and see Ranchero is going to contest this Jacuzzi side push as well. So still a lot of control for BDS, and not a lot of time for MKers as more drones are going to get eliminated. This is looking really bad for MKers right now, because they don't really have a lot of entry, they don't really have a lot of stuff open, I'm not really sure where their push is concentrated from either.
Yeah, and this was it. And there's Shaiko being able to kind of make his mark early on, drops Elation, and is finding himself pretty comfortable and finds the second backer with the diffuser as well. The ping is instant. They now know how they can control the rest of this turn of the half, and they just have to keep doing what they're doing, because where the diffuser is deep in the core of their hold. And yes, Crouch Walking Ash was successful, but it's harder to pull off on a map like this. Sloppy is creeping closer and closer and entering into a little bit of ring around the rosies with the castle, and has somehow yet again found a way in and at least gets one, but surely Ranshiro will be able to pick this up. Sloppy is consistently finding his way in, and finds the castle as well. Sloppy is still on the roll. He started in the previous map, but with 10 seconds on the board, 2 full health, the Torok has to do something on the opposite side, have the diffuser back, and have flashes heading towards the point, but with another body dropped, it is all for Sloppy to do here. The clutch ace situation, but we're all out of time. Good attempt there from Sloppy.
How does he do it with the SMG-11? This man is a god. But not going to be working out for him too well so far. BDS are going to secure their very first round here on Clubhouse. Did you predict this on Strafe, by the way?
I did.
Because I predicted, straight up a BDS, and I'm hoping it does keep that
for
way.
The points. For the
by the way,
points.
if you don't know what Strafe is, it is an app that you can download on your phone. You can predict stuff. You win points. It's very fun.
Points being prizes as well. In the app, actually. It's actually, it keeps being added to. I've noticed that you can get little rewards and stuff from the last time we did this. Like, obviously, they've always been a big sponsor of OGA, and it's great to see them, and I still suck, though, at making my predictions on who wins. Every team just kind of throws me through the loop, and in a nice way, though, because we get to see games like this. Second point, they're going to stay upstairs, and I think one of the instant changes here, and I guess it's more common, is they haven't opted for what is traditionally an off point on this, which is open. Now, if you think back to Border, where they consistently picked what is famously the off point, but it's not as off point as Bar on Border, because Bar on Border is just kind of a hell space, I think it's fair to say, and at least kind of, Customs has some give to it, and I think it shows like a BDS, they're showing up a little bit more in terms of they want to lock this down.
I do like the gym pick here, definitely. And look at that from MK, it's already 3 drones eliminated. That is a lot more important than I think a lot of people give credit for. I mean, that is really good work from BDS to eliminate already 3 drones. That's a huge amount of intel already lost to MKs. And you look at their lineup, they don't really have too much intel in their back pocket. We don't see like Dokkaebi or anything like that coming out, so those drones are going to be crucial.
Well, it's what Fabian has once said, it's if G2 lose a drone in the prep phase and the setup phase, then they've lost that drone phase. They've kind of ruined it for them in terms of the trade there, because you want to have all of that. You want it as flank watch, you want it as cover, you maybe leave it outside of buildings so you can double down the information, one for the initial push and one for the follow-up once you've done your opening executes and opening work. Shaiko is dancing the dance of death against ours and is able to find himself tap-toeing to glory as the C4 swings but doesn't catch anyone there. Still aggressively holding on with Panics peeking against the CCTV wall that's now been opened, but can Sloppy keep the role that has otherwise been so monumental for MKers?
Definitely see you, but already BDS looking really good right now, but ours is Claymore is actually going to catch Shaiko for the run out. He's going to go down early on, and technically ours just traded himself out there.
Hey, post-mortem. What was it?
Post-mortem, yeah.
No, but I'm trying to remember the perk from... Is it Modern Warfare 2? Where you drop a grenade when you fall to the ground?
Oh, Martyrdom.
Martyrdom, that's it. It's Martyrdom, but it's like a slightly delayed one.
Sure.
Sloppy is trying to, again, find a bit of an entrance, but again, Sloppy has been one where as soon as he gets a bit of momentum, he can absolutely soar with the wins and backer at the same time as someone who, I guess, was a big part of the previous rounds. Has the open window on Jim. They've got the control, at least from the cover from Sloppy, to make sure no one swings out too aggressively if they need to, but they haven't quite found themselves comfortable. With a minute on, they've got to set themselves up for their flanks and their covers, which, as we said on the previous map, were pretty exceptional.
Yeah, they definitely were. Ranchero still holding the logistics, got a nice angle just past Island here onto the bedroom window, and Rafael is also just prone with his shotgun. He's ready for anyone to jump in that window as well. And there's a lot of control here still for BDS. Arek's also holding down the bathroom as well. and Panic still holding down onto Cash Room. So it's a lot of spread out control here for BDS, but it's slowly being worn away as MKers do open up this logistics hatch, and Sloppy gets his entry onto Panic. So that's that entire east side of the building cleared now. This isn't looking too good all of a sudden for BDS.
Well, Sloppy has 30 seconds to make more magic work in the cash room with the diffuser on his shoulder. They still got to get a body out of construction that they might not know is there. Worried about the logistics swing, pre-fires over the soft wall, but they are just going to hold tight inside and see if they can get it. The sledge from behind, what a nightmare, but it gets one, and there's the trade. Renshiro and Rafael find a body apiece, a 2-1 as Baka brings themselves back into the swing, and there is Renshiro from the main stairs. 3 seconds, waiting for the plant, playing this a bit perfectly, but does a very big rotate, worried about being chased, has to swing back round. Sloppy is going to stick the diffuser, doesn't have the choice, and now it is a post-plant 1 versus 1.
We've seen him win these before. Sloppy just still holding down. He's got the L85 out, no ammo left in his SMG. Doesn't want to go for the reload. He sees Renshiro and he takes him down. Sloppy is so good, and MKers take round number 2. Ooh. That seemed like a completely unwinnable scenario, and yet with 1 second left, he stuck that plant. Renshiro making a slight mistake there.
He expected to be chased, and he just hightailed it out of there, and well, it unfortunately didn't work out in the end. The post-plant really came through there, and again, I say the post-plant, the player of Sloppy, yet again, is just highlighting himself and saying, I'm taking this map.
So, Panics with the 6th pick from the castle onto the Cade, maybe to try and think they're going to Gym again with a castle pick, and then just 6th picking it off, but we're not going to be going to Gym, it is going to be a church pick. We'll see exactly what they want to do here. Moving into round number 3, if MKers can get another couple of rounds here, which I think is very possible, I think they can take this map.
I mean, like, it's so hard to predict, just because of, you know, it really depends how BDS respond. Their responses before have been good. They're on the defense, and, you know, a 4-2 split is, weirdly, it's okay, but it's not fantastic. So you've got to see if they can find their way at least to keep them on only 1 round. As you said, if it goes in a 3-3 with MKers then leading in the defense, you can see them actively taking it. But Border was a perfect split, attack and defense previously, and these teams just keep butting heads, and it's always up in the air as to who's the one that's able to find their way to the front line. Setting themselves up for another push here and another clear, and again they're opting generally for the same kind of holds and the same kind of operators. Kaid is going to try and lock down the hatches and make sure they keep that, but with Thatcher on the board and 2 hard destructions, you assume they'll be able to get through them.
So, we'll see exactly how it's going to be going down. BDS not looking as strong as maybe we would still hope, but Still things to be done here, still plenty of rounds to go down here, and MK is still looking on the uptick. I still believe in the MK's comeback here, and after how close the first map was, I think everyone in the chat should be a little bit more intensely focusing on this game. We're moving through, it's about 1 minute into the round so far. Lots of intel up for BDS here, because they do have the Valkyrie, but they also have the Maestro as well. So plenty of cameras, but as we talk about that, one of the black guys up there in the pipes will be destroyed.
Well, there's Baka trying to find the angle on the man below, and the rotate comes out, but no, doesn't catch anything against it, and that could be a very costly loss there. They've managed to get the blue hatch open and start the droning work beneath, as they've also got a Thatcher in hand, and Elation is able to close down. All of the defenders have now found and funneled their way beneath, and they start their collapse against this blue and oil pit side. In the meantime, they're still pinging every drop, every hatch, and every hold here, and they're going to start trying to set it down, but Kaid is watching. The Thatcher should be enough to catch that out there, and there goes the hatch, and that is a very big one to lose as they start to approach with a lot of hard destruction utilities still in their favor, and a minute on the board. That's plenty of time to formulate this aggression against Church and Blue.
Great bit of coordination there coming up between Torok and Baka to get that hatch open. As you said, the Cade below was tricking Moto Hedge. See what exactly the attack wants to play out here from MK. Their execute isn't looking too good, and Renshiro is going to take a little bit of utility away in the form of ours. Zofia So he goes down to a C4 from below. We've still got at least one C4 up here from Panics. Sloppy trying to push through blue and trying to get that control. So it's like primarily a church push is going to go down. Torek needs to get to that church wall and get it open if they want to stand a chance of this. And Torek is actually going to move in. Sloppy from blue takes down one. There goes Ranchero. And they now have that blue control. Sloppy's just going to continue to push. Torek takes another one down. There goes Panics, but Sloppy is going to get traded eventually. But they've lost control of church. BDS cannot deny this plant going down. The White Twin comes through, but the Maestro goes down. And just can't deny the plant. Tried to come through Ashwell. RX tried to do his best there, but gets shut down. Did he come through Ashwell? Yeah, he did. Wow, that was sneaky.
Well, MKers, yet again, they are finding themselves a foot ahead. Can they continue the roll? As I said before, a 4-2 split for them is... it's okay, it's good when you're taking that on your attacks. If they get the third round, they are setting themselves up for a very, very nice second half, leading onto their defenses. BDS heading back down to the church, currently have the alibi on the board, but again, I'm curious to see how they can respond, because so far MKers, they've kept the ferocity and the tenacity that has otherwise just been completely clinical. Every movement, every piece of utility, and every combination of the pair has just been so on beat and on point that it's hard for BDS to kind of stop the roll that MKers are finding.
And we've seen a step up from BDS. Definitely, I don't think anyone can really deny that. We've seen a lot more aggression coming out from them, especially from Shaiko, and especially on that first round as well. We've seen a lot of good work from them, but Sloppy is just a machine today. He's just done that entry fragging, the SMG-11, the R4C. He doesn't need any specific tool, but he's been able to do a lot of decent entry fragging with both. And honestly, I just keep thinking that the amount of drones that keep getting taken off the board here from MK is already losing 2 drones in the prep phase. They really should be losing these rounds to Intel, and they're just not.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of way it's breaking down. It just, MKers just seem to be so solid as a unit, and when they're trusting in the process, the firefights that they're setting up, BDS just aren't really able to find responses to. Rafael is setting up a little bit more of an aggressive hold on the floor above. Curious where the Prismas have been deployed, and maybe it's going to potentially slow some of what MKers are doing down, but it's hard to make them stumble, it seems. The patchwork work isn't quite working in his favor as Shaiko swings round. They're doing a top floor clear and making sure yet again they can funnel the defenders down. Hits one of the alibis, and this is what they want to be doing, as there's a body roaming around in logistics that might be met sooner than Sledge expects.
Sloppy is going to be opening it up and checking dirt for runouts. I think exactly what the situation is here. I'm not sure if he knows that both those walls are indeed reinforced on dirt. Annihilation is just going to try and go for the wall bang through it into construction, but as you said, yeah, we do indeed have a roamer up here. He's going to drop down into pool, however.
There's actually 2 roamers. I didn't even see the other one. Panics pulls out. Rafael is going to rotate all the way down, but there was a second body inside logistics as well. If that goes undroned and uncontested, it could be quite a big swing in the favor of BDS. Shaiko still wants to be aggressive, but it's RX that gets taken out of the equation, and that was the one of the 2 roamers gone, and now they're able to clear that top floor and start their descent downwards. There is a lot of aggression coming away from the point, and it is not coming together for BDS as another one falls. Ours finds his double, a 5-2 situation. Just Rafael and Renshiro back down on the point with everything left to do, and a minute 20, MKers are relentless in their attack on Clubhouse so far.
Yeah, 5v2, this is looking absolutely god-awful for BDS right now, as the Us are going to be holding down to Armory, but Rafael still being aggressive. He's between a rock and a hard place right now on Secret Stairs, and seeing what he can do. He's got to play aggressive, but he's getting a dropped on from the top ropes. It's going to be back who takes him down. Instant gets traded out, but it'll be Ernshir gets traded out himself, as MK has took round number 4. And even if they lose these next 2 attacks, I think they could be very, very happy with this result so far. And what is happening right now? Because here's my theory, right? That BDS have taken so many drones off the board in prep phase that there was just some call made, okay, they don't have any intel, they don't have less drones, let's just do a really heavy roam. They're not bringing Jackal or Dokkaebi or any roam clear at all. You know, let's just be aggressive, let's just roam heavily. And somehow, either through face checking or just really efficient droning, MKs has completely eliminated that roam game.
I mean, this is the first time out of the 2 maps that we've seen where they've managed to take, any team has managed to take 3 rounds in a row. And on the side of MKers, it's just looking better and better every single time they take another one. Going to be able to go back to CC, which was the only round that they've taken so far, BDS. And, you know, if they don't get these next 2 rounds and they swap to attack and MKers keep up what they're doing, I can definitely see us being in map 3 and Bank.
Yeah, no, I can see it as well. And I think Bank's a bit of an unknown factor here because we've only seen BDS go there once, I believe, during the Challenge League season, and MKs have gone there twice and they've won one and lost one there. So, bit of an unknown factor to see what goes on, but we kind of come into Clubhouse knowing that this is a good map for both of these teams right now, so maybe we shouldn't be too surprised at what MKs is doing right now, but at a face value, you would think that BDS would be dominating this matchup.
I think everyone did, and don't get me wrong, MKs are a good side. They've made the groundwork, but BDS have been on such a streak recently that it's, you know, it's surprising when a team like that, when you start to see a streak shake in the middle, when you get the anomalous data where they drop a couple of maps in and amongst their absolute storm, which does happen, it's just always a little bit of a, wow, that just happened. And you know, again, there's so many factors that can go into this and so many external things, but on the play day itself, MKers have shown up so well, and it is hard for any team to respond against that. Shaiko is trying to turn into a helicopter. And
it's a good strategy.
We'll see if it pays off now, and he's charging up his bullets. Like in the film Wanted, where you can curve the bullets. That's what Shaiko is attempting. There comes the quick break and doubles it down and tries to find the body in and amongst it, but unfortunately they'd found the cover as well. Played it safe against the castle, and, well, safety first, and it comes in dividends for the Thatcher.
Mushroom cams are still going to be up in this garage area as well, as MK is slowly doing this take again, where they try and clear out this jacuzzi side. And it was a really heavy take last time. I mean, BDS was holding down this very, very hard last time. But Sloppy was actually able to dissect it eventually, but they just ran out of time. So, yeah, I think that's a good call from Ranchero to just, yeah, they're just going to castle that and try and rotate out a little bit. The pre-fire comes down, and back air is out of it. That's Diffuser down as well outside the construction window. And Shaiko and Ranchero looking to retreat a little bit further back now.
Well played there from Ranchero to match with a little bit of aggression. Sloppy holds the angle and takes care of RX though, and here he is creeping up the middle as he did before. Now they have obviously castled it, but there is a hammer in hand, and this is going to be quick work for a sledge. It will make a lot of noise and be very audible, but they've at least limited the places that they can be, and I think that might work in the favor of BDS. Elation in the meantime from underneath drops Shaiko, and that is a big take, and now it was... in fact, it was a wallbang. It was through the wall, even, and they crack open the castle window. There is someone playing in construction side. They've doubled down and potentially angled towards logistics as well, but with Sledge on the other side, the ground is getting thinner for BDS. Ours is the player that is underneath, and hello, I'm Sledge. Where are you? There you are, Castle. That's one, and that's almost two, but a quick trade comes out, and that could be a big moment.
Elation! What was that? Great headshot coming out from him, and Panics is just going to go down straight away. The Diffuser's going with it, and Rafael is going to be still holding on to Garage. He's going to try and peek it out and see if he can get one. He does get it. He's got to find two more if he wants to bring this in. Diffuser has gone down successfully, and flashbangs are going out to stop the retake, but Rafael has got plenty of time to work with here. Diffuser slowly doing its work. He's going to find another one. Ow, it just peaks, and it's a 1v1 now. Very, very, very low Elation. He's just going to wait to see if Rafael sticks it as he goes for the peek. He is actually on the roof right now. The peek just come out from Rafael, but just a little bit too slow. He's going to remove the barbed wire very smartly and trying to go for the counter defuse yet again. Elation's going to have to play aggressively now. Oh, well calculated by Rafael as he does the clutch. And he takes it for BDS. A 3v1.
That was a fantastic play from Rafael there, especially picking up his barbed wire in the midst of it, knowing the exact time to sticking that and showing how capable he can be with that gun and the swing against a fast-moving enemy. Just a brilliant, brilliant play there from Rafael.
Absolutely amazing. Round number 6 is going to see us go to a gym bedroom defense, but as I said, really honestly, even if MKs lose this round, and even though they've got to be kicking themselves over that 3v1 absolute throw by them, but a great clutch by Rafael, they've got to be upset about that one. But even if they lose this round as well, I think you've got to be pretty happy with a 3-3. And we said the same thing on Border, honestly.
Yeah, it's the thing about it is, and obviously a lot of people will kind of question, well, it's drawing, but you've got to realize what's on the board, and you've got to realize what the teams now have to accomplish. Yes, it's been pretty evenly matched between the two teams, so these are ones that are, they're having mixed rounds and mixed kind of places, but compared to the rounds that MKers are taking against BDS, MKers are able to consistently find themselves in good positions. And with the space and kind of size and capabilities that this map can offer them, if they can find a way to translate that to their defenses, it could be pretty, well, bad news for the French team of BDS. However, they still have to find one more to put themselves on that 3-3 position, and they're going to opt to take Gym, which was a loss the last time they were here. Can they translate that to a win? We just almost saw them take another loss, but it was an amazing 3-1 clutch, and they're a tough thing to rely upon.
For those of you who don't know, Rafael is actually a word in French. It means gust.
Ooh.
It's also a type of fighter jet as well.
Does that also mean gust?
I believe
Is that
so.
what it's based around?
Yeah.
I know that's Slumper corrects me on my French pronunciations.
Really?
Everything, and he's an absolute star because I mispronounce a lot of things. And I often get created by a lot of people, but Slumper's always got my back for the French pronunciations. So if you're listening, thank you, Slumper. And Rafael was one of the ones that I used to, because you read it and you go Rafael,
Yeah, no.
but it's a silent E. In the meantime, Renshiro has silently taken a huge amount of damage there, put himself on a very small sliver as Elation is concerned about a potential run out from either angle, but at this point that hasn't really been BDS's MO. They're more than happy to try and find the firefights inside. Bandit panics was the first drop last time he attempted this tricking, and again it's potentially from the kind of combination of what MKers have been able to bring to this kind of stage, consistently locking off multiple different angles, multiple different holds, and, well, multiple different defenders.
So I think what they want to do here is they're going to Thatcher from above to clear the ADS, and then Sloppy's going to nade from the other side to try and clear the Bandit. Not sure how coordinated that was, but it's going to be Elation either way who picks up the first kill of the round. Shaiko already going to go down, but that is a massive mistake from MKers to just go straight for that thermite charge, because already losing a thermite charge, it means, a lot like this is not going to be easy now to try and clear this all out. Especially considering we have Jacuzzi Wall reinforced with a Cade on it. Oh, how does this happen? How do things like that go wrong? And then Sloppy just gets entries anyway, but yeah, great couple of early kills coming out from MKs, and honestly, like, utility-wise, they're not in a good place, but they've got those 2 frags on the board, and they've taken a couple of big fraggers off the board already, but as I say that, Rafael going to wide peek out on the server window, and ours is going to go down. Now, a 3v4 situation, BDS looking a bit squiffy right now.
Wow, Sloppy. I mean, it's hard to kind of say anything he's done has been bad. Every decision has seemingly worked in his favor, and it's such a consistent benefit. But that is all the thermite charges off. The ex-Kairos, I believe, too. They are forced now to try and take this based on what they've actually got open. And it's going to be aggression. Sloppy on the far side, you see creeping up red stairs. They're ready to start their pincer across this cache CCTV side, but with only 25 seconds on the board, they have to get the diffuser in point. Rafael is going to try and hold it down on the side of construction and buy time, with logistics hatch always a looming threat. All of MKers are setting themselves up for this cache collapse. They have to go through Renshiro. They have to go through Rafael. And RX is also finding bodies too. The swing goes 1. This is looking like a 3-3 situation. Sloppy has been in this situation before and didn't make it work that time, and is out of time to do it here. 3-3 we find ourselves on yet again at the turn of the half.
And I think honestly still that MKs can be pretty happy with that, honestly. No, maybe not what they wanted, and they could have won at the end of the couple rounds there, like definitely that 3v1 post plan. They definitely should have won there, but I think they can still be pretty happy with that result in that first half. We're going to be moving through into the second half now. We're going to swap it in around, and MKers are going to take their turn on the defense as they go to CCTV and cash room first. Let's see how BDS do on their attack.
Wow, I'm curious to see, obviously, if they can kind of bring a bit of the fire, because they were very good on their attack rounds previously, but then on Border, but then the rounds where there would be responses from MKers just kind of would take them a little bit by surprise. Rafael and Sloppy are the ones leading the frags so far, and Sloppy, again, has definitely been a standout player across both teams in these two series and has really just shown up to work today, bringing the castle to hold this point. That was lesser seen, and I guess, well, that's reinforcing off Garrett to standard, but I'm curious where those castles are going to go.
I think they're just going to do a very similar setup to what BDS were doing when they cancelled the construction area and they can cancel the server window, but it looks like they haven't done that quite yet. Maybe a castle hold downstairs instead, kind of akin to a more G2-like strategy. And yeah, no, okay, so he's castled out supply, and it looks like he's cancelling out the bottom of the lounge as well. So there is actually an angle you can get here, because there's like, where that lounge is, there's like some steps that go down, and you can see through the bottom of that castle quite easily. And there used to be a pretty classic G2 strategy to put a shield there as well, and then just to hold that angle and stop anyone from pushing the downstairs area.
I like the shield up against the door where Backer is currently hiding behind to get the angle over the top. Sloppy still doing a little bit of construction work, not happy with the feng shui of the room and is sorting it out. Backer has the Valkyrie cams. The feed of information is in the favor of MKers, as we can hear the quick pace from the Hibana pellets already cracking up underneath. This is what BDS need. A little bit of aggression and tenacity could go a long way against MKers, and lucky there, panics to not take more damage as they blindly rotate. Maybe thought they were a bit further away, and that is the holes open underneath Garage. And there's one man playing loose on the far side across Gym, and otherwise it's generally just pushing towards this Garage and pushing towards the point itself.
Is Elation hiding this ADS so that he can just place it down later and not get naded out? Because if that's so, that's pretty smart, but I don't understand why otherwise he would have an ADS still in his pocket. Lots of Valkyrie cams up here. We'll see that there is in fact a Zofia that has moved in below. BDS taking a lot of control. Looks like Panix is going to try and move in here and try and go for the nade, but meanwhile Rafael is going to open up to the server wall. Shaiko is going to do the entry frag, however, it's going to be Sloppy who goes down first of all. Rafael trying to catch someone on the rotate, but unable to do so. Torek still alive. We've still got two people in Garage right now.
Well, Shaiko underneath is causing as much attention as he can as Torek finds Panics and finishes off the injured man, taking a huge amount of damage himself. There's the wide swing and gets the body, but again, a lot of damage done to ours. Able to take out Shaiko underneath, however. That's a big, important take. Rafael finds Elation, brings it back to a 3-3, and with, well, a sliver on Maestro and a quarter on the Bandit, it's not looking fantastic for them in prolonged firefights. They just need to find a way inside, and Renshiro finds Torok with some beautiful shooting over the motorcycle parts. Now there's another one down just from the impact, and RX would have heard that, but they've got to find a way to capitalize upon it. Backer swings out and finds one and doesn't quite find the second. BDS, for the second time this map, but with a lot of rounds in between, find themselves on the front foot again.
Yeah, much better from BDS. I thought, honestly, that wasn't going to go in their favor because, yeah, he had, in fact, saved the ADS. So, you know, you use flashes to check if there's an ADS, and then once you're happy, you move your nader in, and they go for it. But once the flash has been thrown, but the ADS after that, then the nades are going to get caught out, and you can play that Garage quite well. So it's actually quite smart there at the end by Elation. But, yeah, everything kind of just fell apart there in the end, because I thought that BDS's utility usage wasn't actually that great. We still had 2 EMPs, and we still had 1 thermite charge up. It took them a long time to get that east server wall open, even though they did actually have control of downstairs for quite a long time.
Well, BDS, last time they won a point on attack, the next round it did go MKers from a combination of a response from MKers. The C4s underneath, a bit of good creative movement, was able to shut down and read into what BDS did. Can they replicate that kind of magic on a different map and a much bigger play space? There's still a similar lineup from their half. They're not really opting to change anything. They have the information from the Valkyrie and they're going to try and Bandit hold off. The only big change here is Maestro has been taken out of the equation and swapped off for the smoke.
I think that's a good choice, I guess. We did see the Maestro be pretty effective on both defenses. Just the Alder is just so powerful. And you just have that backup info as well. So, I mean, we do still have info in the form of the Valkyrie. But it's going to be maybe a little bit more conservative play by MKers, because they played pretty heavily downstairs last time, and that didn't really end out too well for them. But other than that, honestly, kind of seems like the same strategy, because they're still bringing this castle.
Well, Sloppy is obviously, he's a player that has been pretty exceptional. But
I know why they brought the smoke. So the smoke can bring the shield, and the Valkyrie can bring a C4 instead.
Ah, that's a fair change for you, Saladin. Quick thinking, but we'll see if they can find their way through. Ranchero above, gonna Thatcher out what he can, and I guess we'll see if the take on this can be successful against it. They managed to get the holes open previously, but it's being able to make use of them that's the big ask afterwards. Almost every single team can find their way through this wall because there's just so many different ways of doing it. From above, from in front, from underneath, and from the sides, and even behind. It's not the, safest place in the world for Torok to stand.
So lots of Valkyrie cameras being set up here, and they should be able to get a good idea of where the push indeed is coming from. But the banding trick did actually come in. That's not good from BDS. They're losing a thermite charge really early on, and we saw something similar go for MKers, but they still managed to bring in the round. Hopefully we'll see another thermite charge going down sooner rather than later, and it will do so. Looks like that one did get the wall, and it did find Torok as well. We tried to go for the bandit trick. Oh no.
Oh, that's the first death to that we've seen. In the series, the first time we've seen someone die to a thermite charge, and your bandit's off and your Jaeger's on a sliver of health at this point. This looks like it's swinging again into BDS's favor, opening up the sight lines to make it very uncomfortable for the man inside. There's the swing from the Valkyrie, and Shaiko is there, ready to respond and drop backer with some quick thinking. There's a man to the far left on Jim. They are aware of it, but he could be prepping a run out as we hear the impact pop off, and Sloppy finds Shaiko. It is, and it's Panics that actually gets elation. So Sloppy will have to make his way back towards the point with a minute on, and BDS stacked as a 4 against a 2 gas grenade remaining hours. They've got to find their way inside, and his castle is struggling as he's just out of point. The amount of time Smoke is trying to eat to try and allow his teammate back in, but a 4 versus 1. Sloppy is continually finding himself in this position. Can he make something of it?
No info coming out at all. Sloppy couldn't do anything there. BDS are going to take round number 8, and I think we can say now confidently that BDS are done messing around. They want to close out this series now. They're looking way better now here on Clubhouse's attacks. A lot less sloppy. If you mind the... I swear I said that like a couple times this series already, but
yeah. It's one of those names where you can just kind of work it into silly puns as you go. The thing is, like, despite
the fact he's called Sloppy, he really hasn't been playing like that.
That's what I was about to say. It's such a bold name to have because if you do mess up, then
you just say, "Oh, it was my name." Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sloppy is playing sloppily, but he is the opposite. Even then, when we saw the run out against Shaiko, like, it impacted it. I called it, even though we weren't watching it. You could see the outline, you could see where he's going. You heard the impact. You're like, right, surely they'll read into this, and then still gets the frag out of it against Shaiko, against the Type 89 from that kind of range as well. It just kind of shows like how well he's having a game today. Heading down to Church, going to not opt to take CCTV again. I think that's a wise move because we've just seen 2 very convincing takes from the side of BDS against it. Now, obviously, let's see if MKers can find a little bit more space to play in against this point. I'm curious to see if they go aggressive on the top 2 floors. Sometimes you'll see some teams throw everything down in that basement floor because it is a very vast area. There's a lot of different angles. You've got blue and oil to worry about, potentially dirt as well. When you've still got, obviously, both Hibana and Thermite on the board, so Maverick's the only one removed. It means the hatches can be opened pretty quickly. Kaid and Bandit are going to be the only struggle there to slow it down, but with Ranchero on the Thatcher and convincingly doing it so far, you assume they're going to find their way in 3 hatches.
I'm going to guess that Elation just wants to play the Kaid there in dirt just to make sure there's no drones coming through, and then he's just going to throw his single Electro Claw just on the tiny point there, and he should be able to close off all of the dirt. It looks like BDS aren't interested in that kind of push at all, and that already just says to me that they're going to go for a pure kind of like Church take.
Yeah, and they're doing a quick clear over the top floors. Again, they're funneling themselves down, making sure that there's no way for them to be rotated upon, because that has frequently been the kind of nightmare that they've suffered quite a lot on this play day so far. Panics is going to set up against the blue side and make sure they have the cover there as the rest of the team steadily and slowly makes their way across. In the meantime, MKers have, as I said, set up for a purely basement-sided defense. Every single body is holding down below and waiting for the push to fall upon them. We're expecting that to happen around the minute mark, and that's when the hatches and execute will probably start to come to fruition. And from that point onwards, as I said, this opening is just BDS room clearing.
C4 is going to go up the blue hatch, but not able to find any kills just yet. Rafael is going to burn out the ADS in blue. And yeah, again, as well, doing work on blue, trying to get that control. This is screaming a church push right now. Looks like the Thermite is going to indeed rotate down. He's going to get the Moto hatch instead. So this means it's really going to be down to Shaiko to open up the church wall.
Well, it puts a bit of pressure on the Hibana, because as we said, those pellets, they take slightly longer to detonate, but you get at least the berth of being able to do it at range. However, with the constant fear of impact tricks against these, and Kaid, who's being a bit of a busybody and trying to crack stuff open, well, I guess we'll see how this translates. A great take of the Kaid charge there, but Kaid takes a body of his own. Elation opens up the frags and takes care of RX. There's the impact trick, and it works charm, but he's on half health, and he's dancing around a drone, so the space is getting thinner.
Oh.
Finds more of a firefight, but Shaiko and Elation both exceptionally low health. The impact drops the Hibana, but he can't quite finish it. As pick up, and the saving grace there of Renshiro is able to at least find a body. Picks the Hibana back up and puts it back into the fire, but with, you know, the 40 seconds and 4 left on the defenders, these 4 attackers have to make something from this.
Yeah, they definitely do. Panic still holding down. He knows that this ADS is burned, so he definitely could go for a nade here. Renshiro playing from above, it looks like a nade is going to start to come out. He's taken a lot of damage from that, though, however. From a quick peek coming out from Sloppy, and Rafael trying to play from above to cut off the church. Smokes are going to go out onto the kitchen drop, but Shaiko picks up a kill out of it. Renshiro just go down, however, and MK is looking really good here. As Torek waiting for the kitchen push, he's going to deny the defuse going down, but Shaiko makes another entry. Panics gets traded. It's all down to Shaiko to try and make something happen, but he can't. MKs take round number 9. I think, honestly, the big thing about that, I really thought they were just going to go for the church take, but at the end there, they changed it up. They went for the kitchen take instead, but they didn't have any dirt control. I think that's something you just essentially need.
Wow, it was a good church. In the first round, we've actually seen end to time. We've seen a lot of rounds get close, but fair play to both these teams. They are both pretty drastically looking for exit frags usually. Shaiko was there as well. It just wasn't a position for anyone to actually exit frag. They've been battling to the wire, and I guess the same is reflected in the round count. 5-4 we sit on. One more has swung in the favor and ended what has been a 4-round run to the side of BDS, but we're heading to Gym Bedroom this time. Originally it was CCTV, but they've opted not to go back there. I think that's a fair thing, and you know, maybe BDS are expecting not to go back there because their 2 takes on it were better and then a better take. So they've shown that they can be quite masterful across that point. We are seeing a hold here without a castle and potentially, but with both the Bandit and the Kaid. So I'm assuming Torek isn't going to try and close hold Jacuzzi wall.
You would assume so.
Unless he wishes for death.
I think what might happen here is that the Kaid is going to be the one who tries to play aggressively opposite the Jacuzzi wall, and then once he's lost it, they're going to retreat into bathroom and reinforce the wall there instead. But we'll see how exactly that's going to go down. It's like Elation is playing pretty aggressively here into Cash instead. He has got impacts as well, so he is able to impact trick this, and there's an ADS for him as well here. There's actually no one else from MKs who has impacts to be able to do this. Don't forget, Smoke doesn't get impacts anymore. He gets a shield.
Yeah, but what a shield it is. Panics, starts his clear from the white van side and tries to make his way towards the point as the drones come out from Shaiko, and he's just verifying that there's no one on the other side to try and trick this to allow himself just a crawl hole. And there is someone on the other side. Doesn't see the Kaid, and goes out, catches it very quickly. Unfortunately timed, and it looks like the Bandit is going to try and hard hold on the far side. They are burning the ADS to make sure they can put the pressure on, but those 6 pellets that got taken there could be a big part of this if Shaiko can't find a secondary way in. Cracking open the top of logistics to apply the pressure on the far side and putting some against the staircase as well to pinch it down. Rafael is going to try and crack this open, but with the Bandit charge going off and the timing and the flashes and everything else falling down, the wall goes too. And Bandit has to pull back, survive, and just try and hold the angle from bathroom now.
Yeah, I think he did the right move there to retreat back from that bandit charge, but he did waste enough time. Ours playing an insanely aggressive position right now, just looking up, and yeah, as I said, he's just going to reinforce the bathroom wall, and he's pretty happy with that. I'm kind of amazed that he was just allowed to do that, considering that that wall was wide open, there was 2 people out there, but he is going to be allowed to do that, and they have the bathroom control still in their favor. We also have this nice shield on the bed in bedroom, and that's going to allow someone to play aggressively around onto island.
Well, with a minute 10 mark approaching, this is the longest we've seen all the operators on the board. Shaiko, as I say, drops hours, and Bandit is able to take, well, the second thermite charge is pulled off just in the last second, and Shaiko finds a second as he's creeped his way all the way into the point. The wide swing comes out against Panics, but he survives, and they realize they have to pull back, but Shaiko isn't allowing it. Finds another with RX, bringing it to a 5-1. Trying to get the plant, and Sloppy is there, but is picked apart as BDS put themselves on match and series point.
This was looking so close and so good for MKs for a while, but now on the defense, they've just completely fallen apart. BDS is doing this just clinically at the moment, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's 6-4. There's only 2 rounds in it, and they still have the potential of being able to pull this apart, but it seems like the energy has been a little bit lackluster from the side of MKers. Oh, well, not too much, actually. I'm going to retract that slightly. It's that the energy of BDS has gone up. BDS are kind of showing the aggression, especially from Shaiko, who is just fragging on the Hibana and trying to find body after body on the aggression. In the meantime, as the rest of the team formulaically finding their way through the points. Otherwise, they would. It's going well, which we didn't see too much of on Border, where stuff would often... they wouldn't be able to find the consistency. They have a great round and then not a great round, and that back and forth energy just kind of cost them, I think, in the long run. However, this is them starting to swing themselves in.
We are going back to CCTV room, however, and this is not a great sight for MKers, and I'm sure if you've been paying attention, you'll know that they just got absolutely slaughtered here in the first 2 rounds, and then they eventually started to bring it back by going downstairs, but they need this defense now. If they can bring this defense in, they can go back downstairs, and then they can probably take that defense and they can bring us to overtime. But this is a crucial round for MKs right now, not only because it's match point to BDS, but it can also, this is like series deciding kind of round.
Yeah, it's the kind of breakdown of it, really. They are looking at this as, well, this is our touch and go point. They trust this hold from their side more than they trust their gym hold, and that's fair enough, because the gym takedown we did see was actually pretty convincingly. It was a 5 versus 1 situation. However, let's see if they can make something of this point. The first time round, it did come down to a 3 versus 1 clutch, I believe. Or was that the... No, that was on a BDS defense. Ignore me, but it did come down to 3 versus 1 clutch. It was a great round. Go watch it. But we'll see if MKers can find themselves with a bit more semblance of balance here as they try and hold off the BDS rampage for 1 more round.
It has been a rampage. That is definitely a fair shout there, but this has been unsuccessful so far. I think there's been some good work in the garage hold, definitely coming out, but other than that, they're really just, everything else is kind of falling apart. Seeing Hibana charges are going to go down. I'm going to guess that was on the garage rafters here. And Shaiko going to try and ping that through. EMPs are going to go down, and Shaiko does find one through that. Isolation going to go down so early on. And RX takes out Torok. That's the bandit off the board. And that should just be game right there. Honestly, this is such a good clear from BDS as they find yet another one. Rafael, all the way from outside of East Server, will find Becker. Let's hold on to Sloppy now to try and bring this in at a 5v2.
Well, Ours is going to go for the rotate underneath and does find one in the form of RX, and a minute 40 on with all the walls open. They are free to generally just find their way inside. MKers relied pretty heavily on that combination of all the denial of walls. The Mute, the Bandit, and the Kaid hopefully coming together to slow the roll, and unfortunately, well, it just did not slow anything. Now it's just a matter of Ours finding his way back towards point to offer some support to Sloppy, who's fallen back into cash to try and hold on. But with only a Nitro cell and a pair of guns that he's been swinging well, it's a tough ask. The bullets come through from every direction, and suddenly it is just one left. Renshiro locks it down, and BDS finish themselves up on the second map in a 7-4.
I just gotta say again, MK is some really bad utility usage coming up from them. They're like not being able to get the bandit trick down, not able to kind of trick out. They have a Cade, you normally see a Cade playing below down there in the garage to be able to deny that kind of garage angle. They had 2 nitros up at the end of that round as well. Neither one of them was used to deny the plant.